Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another Coin News live stream here, talking about some changes to our weather this morning. It is such a different view out there with some rainy pockets around Portland, and also the big heat up that we're expecting this weekend here in the city. So looking ahead, we'll just first look at that live camera that we've got pulled up over Portland. It's just been such a gloomy start here. We've seen way more clouds. It's much cloudier this morning compared to our last few mornings where we've had some beautiful sunrises. So it's good to change things up sometimes. We also are seeing lots of drizzle here around the Portland area, and we've actually collected a good amount of rainfall. We have seen some damp roadways around the metro this morning. So we'll talk about all of that as we head our way into our day today and the week. And again, we'll talk about the scorching temperatures and our potential first 90-degree days of the year here on the way for us as we get to this weekend. So let's get into it. Just check there of our radar, and you can see we still have these very light showers that are sitting over the Portland area here. We again are expecting these to taper down. I do see a much drier afternoon as we head into the day today. Again, we'll likely keep the clouds, but I do think these showers will really start to move out, and we just dry out going into beyond lunchtime. So a few light showers out there now. Again, we are expecting to see a lot more dry time in place as we get to this weekend. And we still have this large scale upper level ridge that is in the region. And this is going to dominate and really amplify and really control our weather these next few days here. And as we get to the weekend, as that ridge starts to shift over the region, that's when those temperatures will start to crank. And we could see our first 90-degree days here back in the picture. We'll even see some warming tomorrow and Friday too. More summery and back in the 80s. But this ridge here is really what is driving a lot of this hot, sunny, and dry weather here across the region, and that really does not go anywhere for a good week. So taking a look at rain chances, I really don't see much rain in the picture here for the next week. After this morning, it looks pretty dry here around the Portland metro. So, there are some concerns for fire weather. We have now kicked off fire season, it being June, and we tend to see the most fire activity. It maybe begins in July. In some unlucky years, it can begin in June. But really, September and October, too, are big years for wildfire activity and also smoke around the region. So something to watch. We're kind of priming the season right now with this dry pattern, and it's not good to see. It's just drying out all the fuels out there that fires can burn. So no rainfall for at least the next week. Again, rain has been out and about since midnight. We have tacked on just under 0.2 of an inch of rain in Portland, which is above what forecasts were showing. So it has been a little rainier in some pockets. It's really been focused out towards areas of North Portland. So there have been some neighborhoods in the metro area that got little to no rainfall at all. But it's been pretty drizzly. Also out towards southwest Washington and into the Gorge, Troutdale reporting a few hundredths of an inch of rainfall, and same with Vancouver, collected since midnight. So little gloomy out there. Observed rain. We haven't seen much. This is looking at rainfall from yesterday through the last week or so. And we are seeing below normal rain in Portland. That will likely stay the case as we head into the next week. And again, we see little to no rain in the forecast. So let's time out our rain the rest of today. It does look to quiet down. I really don't think we're going to see much more in terms of any lighter or heavy showers. I think you'll get just a quick sprinkle and mostly cloudy conditions throughout the afternoon. So not a bad day to get outside still, even with the cooler conditions. We're back in the upper 60s today with the clouds. So just a cloudier and still pleasant afternoon, much cooler than we have been in the 70s. Now tomorrow, we're right back in the sunshine. I think that high pressure starts to build. We'll usher out the clouds. And we'll see temperatures maybe in the lower 80s. Same goes for Friday, too. I've just pulled out the map a little bit larger here. We might see some passing clouds out, but lots of sunshine as we head our way into Friday and wrap up the work week. So in general, there's that big ridge of high pressure. It starts to amplify, and it shifts right over the West Coast and our region as we get to Sunday. So we're building up the heat It might all start on Saturday, and we'll keep that heat, the upper 80s to low to mid 90s through Monday. So lots of warmth coming to the region. I do see a quick cool down will likely push out this heat quickly into early next week, but this weekend looks like a scorcher here in Portland. Just take a peek at the temperature trend. And you can see today's fairly cool. We're actually below average. But we get to Thursday and Friday. Those will be some nicer afternoons. We're somewhere in the low to mid 80s. It's on Saturday now that some forecast models are showing the heat really beginning. So there is a chance we get to the upper 80s, maybe touching 90 degrees. Sunday still looks to be pretty persistent in a lot of forecast models, showing that peak heat and the most intense heat coming on Sunday. And then Monday, we might still hang on to some of that heat. We are starting to change up the upper level pattern. More westerly winds might help to cool us down a little quicker. So Monday, maybe somewhere in the upper 80s. And again, these numbers are still going to switch and adjust as we still see these model updates these next coming days. But so far, most models are now showing Sunday as hot, somewhere in the mid 90s, but only briefly, just for about one day. And then we're somewhere in the upper 80s to about 90 on both Saturday and Monday. Now, another thing to mention about this little heat up here is that we will see some relief overnight. You know, sometimes in our most intense heat waves where we're in the 90s and triple digits for 3 to 4 days, the danger comes from not cooling down in the overnight hours. But we actually will likely see temperatures much cooler over the weekend, overnight, back in the 50s and maybe lower 60s in some of those more metro area neighborhoods. But again, that relief will likely be there for us. So the heat risk is at a moderate level, not at a dangerous level like we sometimes can see in heat waves. But this round, it does look a little more mild, you could say. It will be very hot across the afternoons, but way more mild as we head into the overnight hours, which will allow for some cooling. Maybe you can just open your window and you'll get some relief there from the heat throughout the afternoons. Because we get to cool off overnight. So there's some good news. Sunday could also reach or break record highs. The current record is also 94 degrees, set back in 1955. So we could break, a 70-year record if we get to above the mid-90s. And I believe there's like a 20 to 40% chance that we end up somewhere in the mid-90s for Sunday. So we're going to keep watching that and keep watching it with us too, because these numbers might fluctuate a bit these next few days as we continue to watch these forecast models. Now, in terms of drought, still tracking that. Again, drought always helps to set that stage for fire season 2. If you take a look at the desert Southwest, it's been pretty dry for a lot of those states, like out to Nevada, down to Arizona, areas of Utah and New Mexico. Same for areas of West Texas. So something to watch. They can also get lots of fires. We have some big fires out in Canada as well that have been pushing lots of smoke towards the northeast and some air quality impacts. But Portland back in the moderate drought category. That's a new thing of the last 2 weeks. We've just been so dry. So we have, again, pushed back into the moderate drought category just for a few regions, just for Northwest Oregon and Northeast Oregon too. Now, fire weather danger is at the low to moderate level this weekend. Now, it's going to turn a little breezy as we get to Friday afternoon, and that might be the case across our weekend here. Just the afternoon heat kind of circulates. The winds from aloft will kind of drop towards the surface, so we get some breezy conditions that set up. It's kind of like this circulation, these eddies that happen in the atmosphere, and sometimes those stronger winds get driven down to the surface when we heat up. So I do think it is going to be breezy. This is just looking out to Friday. There are no fire weather alerts by the National Weather Service in place, but just something to keep in mind. You know, more folks are heading out to go camping, and they're getting their boats out and going out to recreate on the lakes and the rivers. And those are all ways that we have fires that start in Oregon. It's actually by people. So please be extra responsible and careful out there. No burning if you can, especially if it is in a dry and windy area. And we might see some breezy conditions again heading into this weekend around central and eastern Oregon. So just a few fire prevention tips, if you are going camping, make sure you are aware of any campfire restrictions and please completely put out your fire. You'll want to use water and, again, a stick to kind of mix some of those coals around and make sure it is completely out where you can put your hand over the fire and feel no heat. Because leftover campfires are also a way that we sometimes see big wildfires start. Also, avoid parking cars on dry grass, avoid dragging chains if you are going to be pulling a boat or anything, a trailer. Those can sometimes cause sparks too. So things to keep in mind. Again, today we will keep it mostly cloudy. I think the rain for the coast is starting to taper down. There might be a sprinkle, but it again is looking much drier into the afternoon. Same for Portland. Again, it's been a drizzly morning. We have seen some light rain showers, but I do see a dry move into the afternoon. We're back in the upper 60s, and today still pretty pleasant, even with the cooler weather and those clouds. I know the Junior Parade starts at 1 p.m. in the Hollywood district. I think you folks out there will see some fine conditions for the parade. So have a blast. Again, still watching the weekend. We've got Saturday through Monday highlighted for this heat. Again, it's going to be real toasty, but thankfully those overnight lows are, again, going to be much cooler, so we will get some relief. I can imagine that the National Weather Service might put up a heat advisory or an excessive heat watch for some portions of the valley and across the state. There may be some pockets in central and eastern Oregon that might near the triple digits. So we will keep our eyes on this little heat up here this weekend. But enjoy today. Pretty cool afternoon. We're back in the 80s. More sunshine tomorrow and Friday. And then we get to the weekend. And that heat will really start to crank. So thanks for tuning in. I will be back later in the week for another forecast update streaming live here in the Coin Now booth. But you can also watch me every morning from 4:30 to 7 on Coin 6 News and the CW from 7 to 9. So enjoy it. I will catch you next time. And thanks again for tuning in.